Welcome to Know Your Money, where we will explore our relationship with money and how the psychology of it impacts our financial decisions, as everyone thinks about money differently. In our podcast, we'll be presenting a variety of financial topics in an easy-to-understand way, which we hope will assist you with managing your money.
Hi, I'm Craig Finch, co-owner of Growth Financial Planning, an independent financial planning practice, and I've been a financial planner since 1986.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bronwyn Wayner, co-owner of Growth Financial Planning. I'm a certified financial planner, and our philosophy at our company is to grow yourself to grow your wealth.
Hi everyone, my name is Warren Grimsley. I'm a director at Rogue Media and help facilitate this wonderful podcast. My main goal here is to try and understand what these two lovely people are saying so that we can all understand.
Mike Williams, absolutely wonderful to have you back.
Good to be back.
I believe you have some information about 2025 we all need to know.
Definitely. Right. So for me, the big issue about 2025 is it's a new year, but what about a new you? Because the new year is going to mean nothing if there's no new you.
Yeah.
So again, I talk a lot about the emotional approach to life rather than the physical. Okay, so I'm going to get a diary and I'm going to, plan and I'm going to do my to-do lists and all these sort of physical things that I'm going to do.
Which are important as well.
They are, but they've been driven by your attitude. If you have the right mindset, then you will plan your day. You will prioritize your day. You will execute your day. But if you don't have the mindset, you might plan your day. But that's it. You get home that night and you look at your diary and you haven't touched anything that you wrote about.
Yeah.
So it's not just physically writing this stuff. It's having an emotional investment to what you wrote, an emotional investment to going to gym, to following your eating plan, to spending quality time with your son. Yesterday I was talking to a guy and he just recently had a daughter. His wife had a daughter and he's got a son who's 2 years of age. So yesterday I was saying to him, how old will your son be in 5 years' time? And he said, well, he'll be 7. And I said, what does your relationship look like with him when he's 7? And he kind of couldn't really answer it. But what I said to him, what you do in the next 7 days will determine that relationship when he's 7.
Yeah.
So if you're not focused on what you need to do in the next 7 days, then that relationship isn't going to be what you would like it to be.
Yeah. We had an event previously, it was actually quite funny enough, called Flourish in 2025. And one of the speakers spoke and what she said was, what promise are you making to yourself? So if you're saying you're going to go to gym next week, do you go to gym or do you break that promise? And if you are breaking that promise with yourself, how are you going to keep your promises with other people? How do you keep your word with everybody else if you can't even keep your word to yourself? So I think to your point, Mark, the new you, what words do you want to keep true to yourself and for yourself?
But what we also got to remember, because people will say to me things like, it's a done deal. I've made the decision, I'm going to gym. That means nothing. People are very good in making promises, using words to say their commitments. But they don't understand how to rewire their brain so that those commitments aren't just a statement. It now becomes a way of life.
Yeah, like Brian says, a promise to yourself.
Yeah.
And you make sure you don't break that promise.
What do you think is the biggest tool?
Again.
Yeah.
A promise to yourself is just words again. It's the same as the words to your wife or your words to your children or your words to your client. It's deeper than that. We now have to invest time, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, to rewire and reprogram our thinking. It's not just saying the words, because Even in relationships, we want our spouses and even our children to base their love for us on our intentions. But your wife is not interested in your intentions. She's interested in what you deliver.
Yeah.
So what do you say is the best tool a person can use to change that?
For me,
That's a good question.
Okay, for me, what I do is I add a level of consequence to myself. So I try and make sure that I'm not a deal welcher, is what I call it. And my wife knows this about me. If we say to somebody, we're going to go and do this, we will do it. Come heaven or hell, whatever, we will do it because we've made a commitment. And I see one of the most serious infractions for me is breaking a commitment to anybody or myself. So if I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it. And so there has to be consequence to it as well. So if you say to yourself, right, I'm going to go to the gym, blah, 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 3 times a week from the beginning of the year, and that's my new thing. Well, if you break that, you have to have a consequence because otherwise your word means nothing, even to yourself. The word has to mean something.
And Warren, I love what you're saying. However, my experience with people is that still is not enough.
Okay.
The consequences, or whatever it might be, I'm going to live up to consequences, my promise to my wife that I'm going to spend quality time with the kids or whatever it is. And maybe there are consequences that we mutually agree on. Consequences, no pudding for you, you don't eat your broccoli or whatever. Okay, there are consequences. Those are very short-lived as well.
But how do you change it?
We're talking about reinventing ourselves, rewiring ourselves. That requires effort. It's not lip service, because even consequences can be lip service. So I want to read something to you that I think might illustrate it a little bit deeper. We're talking about 2025, and I read this out this morning when you were in the session. What do you want? A lot of people don't care about what they want. And I have proof of that. Look at your parents. Now, a lot of people get upset with me sometimes because they think I'm putting their parents down. It's not about that. I think I was a brilliant father when I look at the money that I spent to send my son overseas 5 times, to put Natalie through Red Hill, the most expensive private school in Gauteng. I look at the other kids who went to Waldorf, a school that I would have loved to have gone to. Okay, I spent a lot of money on my kids, but I also spent a lot of time, quality time with them, doing different things with them. So, but I'm not a perfect father. There are a lot of times that I drop the ball. So what I was reading out this morning was, what do you want? A lot of people don't care about what they want. They don't, this is the key statement here, they don't sit down and think it through. That's why they get to 60, 70, whatever it is. They don't have the money. They don't have the health. One of the fastest growing industries currently is adult nappies.
Yeah.
Especially in Japan.
And that's not a good indication. Why is that the fastest growing industry? It's dreadful. So we get to 60, 70, and we don't have the health, we don't have the wealth. I had a mother-in-law who lived with us. We bought a house with a cottage just for her. We had to take care of her because she didn't do these things. They don't sit down and think it through. We are writing our own life story every day. When we come back to the end of our lives and look back, what do we want to say about what we've done? So what do you want is a very powerful question. We don't answer it. New Year's Eve, I promise you, I'm going to go to the gym. Honey, she's concerned that you put on weight or whatever it is, and the kids are complaining that you don't spend time with them or whatever the case might be. Those New Year's resolutions are such bullshit.
Yeah, but that's when I was saying consequence, I didn't mean no pudding if you don't go to gym. So I talk of consequence as, I describe it like this: play the movie out. Okay. So I want to lose weight. Let's just do fitness for example, right? I want to lose weight. So I'm going to eat healthier in this new year and I'm going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Okay, so that day comes where I don't feel like going to the gym. You have to play the movie in your head. We know where this goes. This is a slippery slope. You're not going to go today, and then you're going to miss next week, and then before you know it, you're not going at all anymore. So your goal of being healthier is in jeopardy if you don't do this now. That's the consequence.
So what I
hear
think
you,
Mark is
but
trying to say here, though, is what do you want? So when we started the fitness one, it was I want to go to gym 3 times a week.
But why do you want it?
But then it went to because I want to lose weight. But what Mark's saying is try to get to the core of that, the thought and the emotion. Why do you want to lose
You want
weight?
to be healthy.
What is that for? Okay, so you want to be healthy. What do you want to be healthy for? So I think what he's
Very
trying to
good.
say is get to the absolute root
Yeah, that makes
of
sense.
what it
Yeah,
is that you
that
want.
makes a
Because
lot
if
of
you
sense.
can do that, you're not going to skip that gym. Because if you do it because you want to lose weight, you're going to go, oh, it's fine. I don't mind if I actually have a few pounds on. But if you're doing it because you want to live to 70 to be healthy and not be in the nappies and be with your child, and you're thinking about the root of what it is,
You want to be a great grandparent one
good
day.
point.
you're going to
Yeah.
get yourself
And
to
I
the gym.
love what you're saying, Bronwyn, because the exercise that we go through is, you're right, the goal, you want to follow your eating plan, whatever, you already know what that is. You've written it out. You want to go to gym 3 times a week or whatever it is. The next question we ask is, why do you want it? In other words, as you were saying, is to find that emotional connection to why you want it. So, well, I want to make money, or I want to be able to provide a better lifestyle for my family. Describe that lifestyle. What does that look like? A better lifestyle for your family. What's it? Well, I'd like them to go to better schools. Which schools? Which schools? Don't tell me you want them to go to better schools. Do you have a school in mind?
Yeah.
Get specific about it. Start to see, smell, taste, and touch your kids being at Waldorf or Red Hill or or at university or whatever it is. And then the holiday. Well, I want to be able to take them on more holidays. Which is the first holiday you're going to take them to? I don't know. There's a lot of places I could take them to. No, be specific. And so when what you're saying was really good on a lot of levels, is when you make a commitment, you make a promise, you don't break those promises. A lot of people do, because they don't understand how important that promise is. The movie Liar, Liar with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
What a brilliant movie. Very funny, but also very confronting. In that, am I one of those fathers who's always making promises and never keeps them? But I think when you build your character through the work of whatever the tools that you're going to be using, you find you get to a point where your word is incredibly important. There's that thing about the integrity account,
Yeah.
which is when you keep your promises to people, you make a deposit. What is that currency? What is that deposit you're making into that person's account? What is the currency?
Integrity, your honor,
Yeah.
your word. You keep your
Yeah, like how much is that?
It's what they value your word
It's
at.
trust.
Yeah, trust, yeah.
Trust is the currency. So when I do what I say I will do, I'm making a deposit into your account. The moment I break my promise, I'm taking a withdrawal.
yeah.
And that's how divorces happen, is that account, that marriage goes into bankruptcy. And that's when your wife
That's a
issues you
wonderful way of saying it.
with
That's a really, really good way of saying it.
divorce papers, because
Yeah.
and that's how you get fired. You there's so many withdrawals in your job that eventually the owner of the business says to you, hasta la vista, and it's the end. And we don't
again-
realize.
And trust is hard to
I
build.
think that all comes to understanding the promises to yourself first.
Well, that's the whole point, is placing value on yourself. If you place a small value on yourself, when your value is that high, it's not so much that I want to keep my promises to you. It is a promise to you, but it's more a promise to myself. I remember one morning at 3 a.m. waking up and realizing that I hadn't sent an email that I had promised somebody. Do you know that I could not lie there and say, well, I can get up at 3, go and send this email. He's not going to read it. So let me rather wait till 7. I couldn't allow myself to lie there knowing. So I got up at 3 and I sent the email.
Yeah.
Why? Was because it was about me. It wasn't about you receiving the email. It's not what you're going to think of me. It's what I think of myself. I cannot lie here till 6 a.m. and then send you the email. And that's the kind of an integrity that we want to get to, which is not easy to get to.
Yeah.
With your children, with your, customers.
So often it's funny when I had the woodworking business going full on, my assistant Joseph would often say to me, "Why are you taking so much time on that part? No one will ever see it." And I said, "It's not about that, Joseph. I will know it's there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, they say your true character is reflected when nobody is watching.
Correct.
Sure. That's beautiful. So I think, Mark, what you're kind of saying here for 2025 is go and think what you do want, that gym 3 times a week or whatever those things are, but then really sit with those and get into it and the root of it. And that will help people to make their 2025 a success. Is that right?
Very good.
Thanks, Mark.
Awesome.
You're wonderful.
Thank you. Fabulous. I hope that helped.
You're
you.
blushing.
For sure.
Yes,
Thanks,
Mark,
Mark.
as always, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast, would like to subscribe, please visit our website, www.growthfp.co.za. The information we have provided in this podcast is our personal opinion. For more detailed information, please discuss your financial situation with a financial planner.